This is a piece of sports news. When I read it, I nearly cried. I said to Chris Demm, what kind of world are we living in?
Mm-hmm.
I told Biggie about it, and he said, yeah, I'm not surprised. That's Biggie's.
Biggie's crushing Kelly's spirit today with his takes.
Well, we talked about that Astro World Festival where so many people died over the week. It's just horrible news. Biggie's like, surprised doesn't happen more often. What? I mean, he's been to these shows.
He has.
He stays back. I've never been.
He doesn't go to them anymore, but
no, and I've never. But he's like, I'm shocked it hadn't happened more often. It's just like, what? Yeah. The world, man. You know, the world. Mm-mm. This was in Pennsylvania. A group of high school students have been banned from attending hockey games this season. This happened at the Belmont Sports Complex on Thursday. Mars High School took on Armstrong High School. And one of the players in the game is a girl. She was playing goalie for one of the high schools, which is pretty rare, I assume. You know, a girl goalie on an all-boys team. And she goes in and plays goalie, which, you know, good for her. And the parents, I'm sure, were excited and everything. Well, during the game, 2 chants rained down from the opposing high school. The boys started chanting, "She's a whore." And that was the nicer of the two, honestly. Then later in the game, they started chanting SRD. I heard this and I just thought, what hope do we have for the future that these kids are doing this? And I told Biggie, I weep for our world and our nation. And Biggie said,
I mean, Kelly was playing Strong Men Also Weep. Strong Men Weep. And Biggie's like, seen it. So
happens.
I just don't think it's that surprising today. I really don't.
That's the problem. When you hear something like that and you're not surprised, like, my God, what are we doing? Don't you? I mean, come on. After the game, the principal of Armstrong High, that's the high school that did it, said he was appalled by the actions of his students and immediately banned the entire student body from attending future games for the rest of the year. So nobody was allowed at any of these games for the rest of the year, as he should have done this. I wish they could catch these kids and suspend them, they really deserve a horrible punishment for that.
I'm surprised somebody didn't pick up on it out there in the crowd and who it was.
I think they do know who. Surely they know who it is. Lorigan, Kirk Lorigan is that guy's name. He said he and other school officials are working now to identify the individual students who participated in the chants, and said further punishment is on the way for them, but they've got to have them pointed out.
Listen to that group. You're going to identify all of them?
It'd be hard to.
I mean, that's a big group of people doing that.
There's video, but from overhead. I don't know if you
I think it was just like a single camera shot at the arena because, this is high school hockey.
Yeah, the guy said, I'm disgusted by it. Lorigan said he has apologized to the goalie. The goalie was in tears. The female goalie was in tears.
Of course.
And had, it's just like, let's have a little respect.
One step up, 2 steps back.
Geez.
Integrated hockey.
God, yeah, and then look at how that is. If I were that girl's father, as a father of a daughter, Dave. Sure. We know this. That hurts. That really does. I just hated.
Yeah, but you can chant at games, but that.
Well, and I mentioned earlier, and I guess this has happened before, but
they probably picked it up from colleges and pro sports.
Absolutely. That's where they get it.
But that's pointed directly at this
a single player.
True. Single player who is a girl who is doing something
on a boys' team.
On a boys' team. You know what happened to me in Philadelphia 25 years ago?
Yeah.
I'm not going to retell it now, but
they yell the same things at you.
All right.
He's a whore.
That's exactly what they yelled at that girl on the. That's exactly what happened.
The poor bride.
Let me briefly, for anyone who hasn't. Now, I told this story so much when we first went on the air. I was banned from telling it 10 years. I haven't told it in 10 years. But I was at a game between the Denver Broncos and Philadelphia Eagles in 1995, and this is in Philadelphia at Veterans Stadium. You know that reputation,
the old one.
You know the reputation it had.
I know the vet. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of fans who were
violence, drunks,
unruly,
had a jail downstairs.
Boorish behavior.
Thank you. That's right. And so I went in there, head held high, John Elway jersey on. And when I came in,
white, blue,
white, road team. And they were yelling some of the most foul things you can imagine at me.
Yeah.
Talking about my family, talking about my upbringing, all of those things.
Ancestry.
All of it.
Is this not the city of brotherly love?
Thank you.
Sexual habits, likes and
Sexual
dislikes.
habits.
I didn't even know you.
No.
You don't even know
I said,
me.
you don't even. Things are being flung at me.
How do you know this about me when you don't know me?
How can you speak this way about someone you have never met?
I am a stranger in your
I
town.
said, I thought I would be. I thought it was supposed to be a friendly town.
Hit a little too close to home,
The
Kels.
city of brotherly love. Well, when people say that and question your ancestry, that's what really got me. Anyway, I didn't get the worst of it. At halftime, I've mentioned this before, in a game the Eagles were dominating. At halftime, a couple of Eagles fans got married at the 50-yard line because they had met at an Eagles game. And the bride was walking down the aisle in the 3-minute ceremony. She comes walking down. They had a red carpet out there to the center of the 50-yard line where the Eagle helmet was. And they showed her on the big screen. Now, she was a little overweight. And the crowd started mooing and screaming. Well, a lot of them screamed, I had her, sexually.
Yeah. She's not that good.
She's a whore. She's not that good. My whole neighborhood had her sexually. She's a whore. They kept saying, she's a whore. And I was turning around going, this is one of your people. I mean, she's from here. I held up my arms and said,
She loves your team so much.
what are you doing? Yes.
People.
And then the biggest mistake they made, I told you this. During the ceremony, the loudspeaker, the person said, if anyone here can show just cause why these two cannot be wed, let them speak now or forever hold their peace. Well, I've never heard such a roar. I mean, when the Eagles...
The guys at the space station, it rattled. Is it? My God, what?
They could feel
What's
it in
going on
Pittsburgh.
Earth?
Are we in a meteor shower?
She's a cow. And I turned
Is it
to them.
75,000 strong?
Yeah, 75,000. And I turned to everyone around me and I said, do you not realize this is their
This is the happiest day of her life.
this is their wedding?
I mean,
I know
was
what you're
their
saying.
idea.
I know what you're
Looking back,
saying.
You know
mistakes were made.
I
you know
know.
what? If you're a fan, then you know what they're gonna do.
Shouldn't we live in a society where people applaud it and wish them well on their, and say good for you and good luck in your marriage? Instead, what do we get?
Not in downtown Philly.
Seahawks game. You don't do this in Philly.
This ain't San Francisco, man.
Wrong venue,
Yeah.
wrong town.
Yeah.
They happen to be born in the wrong town. John, you want to talk about high school chants. That one really got me today, man. Go ahead.
So when I was in high school, I went to a public school. We were playing a private school in an early season game in basketball. We were beating them by about 20 points in the fourth quarter, and the private school student section started chanting, "That's all right. That's okay. You will work for us one day."
Yeah, that's from Bring It On.
That hits close. That hits hard.
Yeah, I know the film.
But at least it's a little clever. It's not.
There's a tiny
yeah.
bit of thought went into it, and it's not
Right.
brutal.
Some of the stuff they do at Cameron, I think that's really smart. That's funny. They do that
when,
stuff.
when Duke plays somebody.
But when you're just chanting, she's a whore and SRDs
Yeah.
to a high school girl,
Right.
that hits hard. I don't like that. I'm sorry. I mean, that's awful. Jason, you're talking about being called names and chants. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. P1 for 7 years.
Thank you.
I had the opposite. I was a field hockey goalie, and also in Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
And I got called every homophobic slur you could think of.
Yeah, of course. And weren't you upset by this? Weren't you taken down a peg and just thought,
No, after we beat them in the district championships, I walked up to my girlfriend and gave her one of those big, gave her a dip, movie kiss.
aha, an on-screen type kiss to say, we've beaten you and
okay,
I'm not
who's laughing now?
right. And here I am with my hot girlfriend. Thank you, Jason.
Do we know if this team won, Kelly?
I don't know. That's a
That
good question.
helps the blow a little, I
Good
guess.
yeah,
but
hopefully the girl shut him out.
that's how it would happen in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it happened in a movie.
Should be. The vice principal said, we will continue to do our best to change our behaviors. We want to be better people. I hope you can get through to this crowd. Winthrop, you're talking about Winthrop. You're talking about the crowds cheering. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we lived in New Orleans, few years ago. I took my son to the Sugar Bowl. Alabama was playing Miami at the time. Gino Torrentetta had just won the Heisman. So we are my son's 10, okay? We are seated with a bunch of Alabama fans, and it is just a litany of F, S, all the cuss words you can imagine just coming out of their mouth. And they were all smoking, too, which is outlawed in the Superdome. So when I asked them not to smoke around my son, who had a mild case of asthma, oh, my God. Oh, and we had to get the cops to enforce it. It was hard. The Alabama fans were the worst I've ever seen in my life.
Awful. It's awful. Yeah. I hate to hear that. I'm sorry.
I don't know if it makes any difference, but I mean, there may be a different standard when it comes to heckling pro athletes versus college versus high school.
Probably. I mean,
there should be kind of a sliding scale.
The pros, they get it. I mean, I think they understand.
Like if the Giants were playing the Eagles,
different.
Those fan bases despise each other.
Yeah.
Do you think those people from Alabama tell that story from the other side? You remember when we went to the Sugar Bowl?
We hotboxed that kid in the Toretto jersey.
Kept talking about his son has asthma.
Couldn't get him out of our section.
Yes, that's exactly what they're saying.
Roll Tide.
Yeah, Johnny got arrested that night.
And we won.
He sent the cops over.
We killed. They have a jail at the bottom of the Superdome. It's awesome. Roll Tide.
That's right. Lester kicked that usher right in the junk.
Tatum, you're talking about cheering. Go ahead.
Yeah, P1 from day one. At a high school in the central part of the state, during basketball games, whenever the opposing cheerleaders would come out onto the court with their cheer or whatever, the student section would yell, "Rattle, rattle, rattle, here comes the cattle."
Oh, my God. I'm not standing for this. I'm not.
It's somewhat rhythmic.
I mean,
Tatum, thank
you know, if you're going to come up with something.
Okay, look. Again.
Get him up.
Again.
Move him out.
Okay.
At least it's not pinpointed to one
person.
Right. It's the whole herd.
Right. And you're not saying SRDs.
No.
You're saying rattle, rattle, rattle. Here comes the cattle. One more call.
I mean, if they're the Cowboys or something, it might fit.
Right. Adam, you're talking about Philadelphia in particular. Go ahead.
Morning, fellas. I'm from Philly,
Yes, sir.
and I'm just gonna put it real simple. We have a song that we sing. It goes like this: No one likes us. No one likes us. No one likes us. We don't care. We're from Philly, effing Philly. No one likes us. We don't care.
That's right. That's it.
Maybe Biggie was right.
Maybe he was. Maybe he
All
was.
along.
Maybe you were. I stand down. But I'll tell you what. You know who got it right. You're here, Mike Krzyzewski. How does he like the student section to cheer?
Defense. Yeah, let's go. Come on, Duke. Let's go, Duke.